now like to introduce you to three of our incredible patients. We have Joanne, Vicky, and Emilio who are joining us, and they'll be sharing their experiences on what they found when they actually had two of the treatments that Romana spoke about, proton beam and plaque therapy. So welcome, guys.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us all
Hi.
today. Emilio, do you want to sort of start first, or should we?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I can start. I think Anna, can you share my screen? Perfect. So
Fantastic.
I already did this because I did a once off in my company to tell them about my journey through ocular melanoma. So this is more or less the timeline of my engagement with with ocular melanoma in 2015, and got reviewed, find a spot on the back of my eye. I was sent to Sheffield from 2015 to 2020, routine checks every 6 months, everything was fine. In December 2020, they took a picture, sent me home. 2 days later, they called me and say, "Oh, it changed, come back here, we have a chat. We need to call it now a melanoma." So basically, that was the start of the last bit of the journey. When I was diagnosed, they did offer me. I don't know whether the Dr. Romana saying talk about this. They did offer me something called PDT, which is photodynamic therapy, which I call it vampire blood. And basically, I call it vampire blood basically because it looks like vampire. They literally put a black thing in your veins, and you're looking at it, and it usually uses a laser to try to see if they can burn the tumor from the inside. But the only downside of that is you cannot get sunlight for 72 hours, so you look like the Invisible Man when you're walking about. This is me on January 2021, coming out of Sheffield on a train back to Stoke-on-Trent. So that's fine. The other thing is that the tumor has to have blood vessels. If it doesn't have blood vessels, then it doesn't work, which is unfortunately what happened to me. Went back to March 2021, and they told me, look, hasn't changed. We need to go to next step, which is radiotherapy. They did offer me plaque. I chose proton beam therapy because I was the one that I was for me more convenient in that zone. Immediately after March 2021, I got my marker surgery. In May 2021, I got my PBT sessions in Clatterbridge. There were amazing people there. Had a hiccups on the last day. Machine broke, but I was stunned by the signs, so I didn't mind going back the following day. Then in September, I went back to work. So as you can see, this is November 2021. This is how my tumor looked back in November. In this picture, you can see that it actually shows it's completely burned. Before that, you couldn't even see it because it had very blurry vision. And the picture I have on my background, this way, it's right now. I call it the fry egg. I have lost a little bit of my vision because it's on the temporal side. The loss of the vision is on the nasal side, so it compensates with my other eye. But that's my journey basically. And if I hadn't found Alchemel, it wouldn't be as sound and sane as I am right now. I had a lot of help and a lot of support from people and advice, especially. And you wouldn't be surprised that when they tell you go to Clatterbridge, you stay a couple of minutes, they get you. You cannot see it here because it's blurry, but they give you a mask, and they tell you you're going to be tired. And I said, how can you be tired if you're only 5 minutes sitting down? And yes, you are tired. It takes the energy of your body, but it's normal. So don't, you just need to learn to live with that for while you are coming back from it, and make sure and trust the science and that you've been done, your surgery's been done correctly, and that you're going to get through this. And that's me, basically. Nothing else.
Brilliant. Thank you, Emilio.
No
just because your camera now would be slightly larger, do you mind holding up your mask?
Yeah,
again?
no. I'm gonna do. I'm gonna turn off my. How do you turn off my? Give me a minute. Background. No background. This is my mask.
Okay.
You can see it has very nice marker where it says
Yeah.
actually the eye, and you keep it because it's basically it's made for you and fitted for you, so no one else can use this mask
Fantastic.
from you. But it's good. It's a good reminder of the battle.
Yeah. And used to, I'm guessing that when you're actually having that treatment, you don't then have to worry about sort of your head slightly turning or anything like that.
No.
It'll help keep you in place.
It's not uncomfortable. It literally takes 2 minutes or 5 minutes basically. There are there's a video on YouTube from someone from the BBC News team that shows the actual sounds and things that happen when you're there. I recommend if you're going to have that treatment to have a look at it, because it helps you understand the sounds. Although when you go to get the mask fitted and all that, you see and they test the sounds and they show you. It helps you understand and not get scared. You sit down, they move the chair because they cannot move the laser. They move the chair. They sit you there on the first day, and they already know where it is. So when you're sitting there and biting on the mask, because you have to bite, make sure that your head doesn't move. The next time when you sit down and you actually have the treatments, you sit there, they fit the mask, move the chair to the prearranged location they already know, and they're done. So
it's very quick, isn't it? Actually,
it's very quick. You're in, out, and put a patch and tell you relax, keep it for a couple of hours, because they do dilate your eye.
Mm-hmm.
You might get burned on some burn marks on your eyelids. I was lucky enough that the location of my tumor, they could use it directly through the iris, so it didn't have that problem with the retina. So it was all good, but it goes away quite quickly.
Fantastic. And the actual treatment, we'll come to Vicky and Joanne in a moment, but the actual treatment itself, you don't feel any discomfort, do you, from what I hear from people?
No, I think the worst bit is when they put the markers, because they actually do a surgery in your eye.
Okay.
So I imagine if you've seen the Dr. Hussein's presentation, I think I remember I saw a couple of images, and you get it swollen, but that's when you get people in touch with you and say, bag of frozen peas, that helps a lot. Buy a 1 kilogram bag of peas and break it down into small batches, and then you always have a fresh amount of frozen peas to put on your eyes. That's about it. Follow the instructions that they tell you.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for sharing that, Emilio. I know it can't be easy to sort of come in. I know we've done lots of Zoom calls, but it's kind of different, obviously, sharing so openly today.
Yeah.
So, I just wanted to sort of say thanks.
No worries.
And Vicky and Joanne, was the kind of experience a little bit similar for you? I know so you've both been treated with plaque brachytherapy. Would you mind sort of telling us what that was like?
Vicky, after you.
No, I can't say the experience was the same.
No.
Disclaimer, though, on mine, my experience is 2008, and it was very, very completely doctor-led, and really you were like a little piece of jetsam floating through these doctors. And I didn't really know what to expect. They just told me they told me how the eye worked, and that they were going to put a piece of metal embedded with radiation in my eye, and it'd be done. And they kind of told me how it'd be done, but nothing else. So when I woke up and found a big lead-lined patch on my face, that was a bit of a shock.
Okay.
And I can't say, and there wasn't really an awful lot of support. I think I joined some groups that were in America, but they weren't really very helpful because it was all metastatic disease, and that just freaked me out.
Yeah. Yeah, and 2008 doesn't sound like it was that long ago, but actually it was, a number of years back, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of even monitoring, there were no scans in 2008.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a very different time. And how are you doing now, Vicky? I know you've been having a bit of treatment lately.
Yeah, I had treatment yesterday. Unfortunately, in 2019, my scans discovered metastatic disease in my lungs, not my liver, my lungs. But I was really fortunate. I got on the, as it was, IMCGP 100 trial, which is tebentafusp now, and I still take tebentafusp. And as of my last scan on which I got the results, it was on July 28th, my scan, I'm visible disease free.
That's
I did have
incredible.
a little bit of a disclaimer. There was an operation involved as well. It wasn't just tebentafusp.
Yeah, but you've done so well, and thankfully side effects and everything from what we've obviously heard from you before have been really manageable. So
it's been really manageable.
Oh, fantastic. And to Joanne, just conscious of time, so hopefully we'll get enough time to talk and answer all the questions afterwards. But before we ask you how you are, I think it's just fantastic to be able to say happy birthday. So Joanne's had a very special birthday. So she's had a very special birthday +1. So really appreciate you've sort of obviously taken the time out to come and join us today. But yeah, just from all of us at sort of Ocular UK, we just wanted to wish you a beautiful day for yesterday, and I'm sure it can continue celebrating into the weekend. So yeah,
thank you.
So
it's an amazing milestone when you get diagnosed. Silly things like that cross your mind. Am I going to make it to 50? And I mean, for everyone to say, oh, for half a century, and I was just like, whoa, I made it. And no, it's been great. It's been really, really lovely. So thank you.
Oh, fantastic. Well, Joanne is one of our trustees at Ocular UK. So she sits on the board of our trustees, but she's obviously also a patient as well, and had plaque therapy. So would you mind telling us a bit about how the treatment was for you? And then afterwards, you've had a few sort of procedures, haven't you? So I thought it'd be helpful to hear about those.
Yeah, certainly. So I had plaque therapy back in December 2017. So I'm just coming up for 5 years now. With the positioning of the tumor, they had to cut both the muscles to position the tumor in behind the eye. My plaque was in for 5 days, 5 nights, 6 days, and I was Moorfields based. It was just uncomfortable. I described it in my blog as having the lid of an open tin can of tuna like stapled to the back of your eyeball, because pretty much that's what it felt like. I woke up, or not I woke up, but after they had removed the plaque, my double vision was so bad. It was unmanageable, completely unmanageable. So I remained patched for months, to be honest, until a lot of the damage had healed and I was strong enough to undergo further surgery. And I had, they just call it squint surgery, which I actually underwent twice. And they wake you up halfway through it, and they've got your eye on a pulley, and they held a little thing with Nemo in front of me, and I had to she moved my eyeball to a position where there was only one Nemo, and it was just the weirdest thing. It's if I close my eyes, I can still see the little thing, but it made a massive, massive difference. I had prism lenses for a while. I also got a complete occlusal lens from Moorfields, which I wanted to show you a picture of. My laptop's barred me from sharing, so I might be able to hold it up on my phone. And that was great, because that with an eye patch, you get slight light in, and I found that very, very disturbing. I was getting migraines and constant headaches, but with the occlusal lens, it just blocks out everything, and it looked fantastic as well. It was very clever. It is off the shelf. You go in and they measure. Go on.
And that's a contact lens that you just can't see through. So you'd wear it like a normal contact lens, but actually the black part is totally blacked out, isn't it?
Yeah, it's completely blacked out. I don't know if you can see. Sorry, it's on my phone.
Wow.
Can you see that?
Yep. Brilliant.
It's not
And that helped you for
as clear
some
a
time.
picture. Yeah, so it is actually a green. Oh, there we go. You can see it properly. It's got a pupil and it's got colouring in it and
Okay.
everything. So yeah, no, it was great. It was really good. So I did use that. And then after time, I had a lot of recurrent iritis. So I was on a lot of steroids, a lot of drops. And after 2 years, 2.5 years, the muscle strength in my eyelid failed completely, and my eyelids ended up just falling. And I've lost the vision in the bottom of my eye. So I've just got this like window of vision in the top of my eye that my eyelid was sitting over, which was ridiculous. So I went and I was then advised to have blepharoplasty surgery, where it's done as a cosmetic surgery, but for me, it was basically so that I could have my pillar box of vision back. So it was very, very good. So it's this eye, and the scar is very minimal. It's just across there, and they actually took 3 millimeters of skin off, so that when my eye is now open, it's not straight. My eyes are still not straight. You can see it on a screen. When I've been sitting in the breakout room, I sit with my head on one side, and it's because of my double vision. So I've been moving my eyes around. So it is still there slightly, but me and my brain and my body have kind of worked out that if I sit wonky, everything's straight. So I'm trying to make an effort to sit straight at you guys.
Sit however you are comfortable, please don't worry.
Struggled terribly with fatigue.
So I'm guessing it's just
I did struggle terribly with fatigue after the plaque.
Right, okay, so like Emilio, actually just taking time out for yourself must be really important.
Yeah.
And telling your team, actually, if you're having any difficulties, going back to your team, telling them what it's like, because it could be something that can be resolved. I'm guessing it's pretty important.
Yes, absolutely. Don't be frightened to speak up. And it was Moorfields NHS dealt with they dealt with my lens that was provided. That was all NHS. My follow-up treatment at Moorfields has all been on the NHS.
Fantastic. And Vicky, we've got probably only about a minute left, so hopefully we'll do some quick questions. But did you need any sort of follow-up treatments after the initial treatment at all?
No, I'm again feeling extraordinarily lucky. I had 2 lots of brachytherapy because during the insertion of the first plaque, they found a second tumour that they didn't know about. And apart from I don't really have any vision in my left eye. It's pretty much non-existent. There's like a stripe here and there and a bit of peripheral. So I think that might have helped me not have any of the like double vision or anything like that. I'm not sure I was even warned about those things. And but yeah, no, mine was fine. I had my brachytherapy. The first time I went back to work 2 weeks after. The second time I took an extra week. I had a whole 3 weeks to myself.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and I was tired.
Yeah.
I was tired, and I got a lot of chest infections. Which,
Well, because I mean, sometimes I certainly hear that people have taken, a good few months off work. I don't know how sort of common sort of fatigue is, but I do hear sort of on the helpline that people have, So
the second time I did go and stay at my parents' house.
Yeah. Well, just one. Actually, we did get one question from Emilio, but I know we're sort of a minute over time already. Emilio, do the markers stay in after
They
you have
stay
the
in.
proton beam?
They stay in, and every time I go to have an MRI, I have to notify them that I have markers on my eye, and the MRI safe. But luckily, all the MRIs aside from one I've had in Sheffield, so they do know.
Fantastic.
But I think one last comment is flashing lights. People have flashing lights. I do see them every time you're walking, and then suddenly something comes up, and then you have a flashing light. Sometimes it's very small, sometimes it's quite big, and you get dizzy. But it is normal. You need to think that your retina is being burn by by the radiation,
Yeah.
whether it's the PVT or the plaque, and it's trying to fix itself, and it gets confused, and then you see the flashing lights.
Well, I'm really conscious that we've already. I've got to try to keep today to time, which isn't my forte. Just one really quick piece of advice. If you've got one thing to tell other people, what would that be?
Tell your family and rest. And
don't do this on your own.
Never.
Yeah.
Keep,
Take better snacks with you for hospital. That would be nice.
Absolute priority.
I got pizza for the nurses. I ordered pizza on my phone. Then I just had the surgery. I was so hungry. It's like, can I get pizza? Yes.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and
download audiobooks
better than I do.
Oh, sorry, Vicky, I didn't catch what you just said.
And I'd just say maybe in those early stages, maybe advocate for yourself. I don't have any problem with that now, but back then I didn't really advocate.
It was a different kind of time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I know as we're over, there's we haven't actually talked about eye drops, which I know are massive, because I know when we do this in real at real life conferences, everyone has their eye drops next to them. So we'll come back to the sort of comment in the chat. Keep posting your questions. Just want to say thank you. They're always. I actually need them today. I've got dry eyes at the moment. So thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate you sort of opening up and sharing.
Yeah, more than happy if they have any questions to send them, as we say, offline, and we can answer them.
Yeah, likewise.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Thank you so much, guys. And we're going to hear from Becky in a moment. So brilliant. Thanks for your time.